to any student who's coming, like now from the outstation, they are coming and joining here. So it is voluntary, that if they want, there is a facility provided by the Delhi University. So what about your university? Is it 100% offline?
Yes. We tried to have a hybrid anyway for online off, but even before COVID, we have an online program, for example. So several of our classes are already taught online. The program started in 2019. So,
ma'am, now we are live on YouTube also.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, Professor Prakash, if we can just check with him.
Yeah, he has come, I think.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
विष्णोई जी, मैं ना 5 मिनट में पहुंच जाऊंगा ऑफिस, तो मैं कनेक्टेड हूँ, बस पहुंच करके फिर सिस्टम पे बैठ जाऊंगा.
Okay, sir.
जी.
Ma'am, with your kind permission, should we begin? Can we start? Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, I, Dr. Isha Vadwa Sharma, welcome you all to the orientation program for LL.M and Ph.D students. The Faculty of Law, University of Delhi is a legal institution par excellence. Since its inception in 1924, the department has been a leader in producing many legal luminaries. It is one of the prestigious institutions in the country offering LL.M and Ph.D program. The orientation program is being streamed live through the official YouTube channel of the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi for our students. I'm profoundly delighted to get this opportunity to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest. We are really glad to have with us respected Professor Dr. Shiri Prakash Singh. Sir is presently Director of South Campus, University of Delhi. Sir did his entire education at the University of Delhi and is an esteemed professor in the Department of Political Science. His areas of specialization are ancient and modern Indian political thought, social exclusion and social inclusion, the philosophy of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, issue of social justice and inclusive growth, empowerment, reservation, and affirmative action. Sir has published widely on his area of interest and specialization. Sir is a prolific writer and has authored various books like Dr. Ambedkar on minorities, and has also published edited and co-edited books like Politics for a New India, a Nationalist Perspective, Dr. Ambedkar on Social Justice, Legal, Political, and Social Landscape, and Dalit Agenda for 21st Century. Sir has also authored various articles in reputed journals. He also has to his credit various popular writings in periodicals and magazines. Sir has undertaken 2 projects of national importance, Glossary of Political Science and Fundamentals of Political Science, both project of commission for scientific and technical terminology funded by MHRD, Government of India. Sir has also undertaken various major research projects, including Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's intervention in Constituent Assembly on the framing of the Constitution, and Indira Gandhi's speeches initiative on empowerment of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, sponsored by Dr. Ambedkar's Foundation, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Sir, we are honored to have you with us on this occasion, and I, on behalf of the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, warmly welcome you to this program. We are also really delighted to have with us respected Professor Dr. Shubha Ghosh. Sir is presently Crandall Melvin Professor of Law and Director, Intellectual Property Law Institute, Syracuse University, New York. Sir earned his JD from Stanford University and his PhD in economics from the University of Michigan. Sir has done extensive research focusing on the development and commercialization of intellectual property. Sir has published extensively on various issues of intellectual property rights, antitrust laws, legal construction of the marketplace, and technology transfer in reputed journals. Sir has authored many books, some latest books being Advanced Introduction to Law and entrepreneurship and in understanding intellectual property. One of his books, Exhausting Intellectual Property Rights, published in the year 2018, was the subject of a panel discussion at the WTO. Sir is presently working on various projects, to name a few: diffusion of patented technologies to aid the visually impaired for a book project with the Harvard Law School project on disability, comparison of design law in Japan and USA across patent, copyright, and trademark, which is happening at the Institute for Intellectual Property, Tokyo. Sir, it is our privilege to have you with us on this occasion, and I, on behalf of Faculty of Law, extend a very warm welcome to you. We have organized this program under the able guidance and patronage of respected Professor Dr. Usha Tandon, Head and Dean, Faculty of Law. Ma'am is an eminent professor of environmental law, population law, gender justice, and family law. She has a teaching experience of over 30 years and has to her credit various books and articles on her area of expertise. Her book on population law in India is the only book of its kind which covers various population issues through the perspective of law and has been referred extensively in India and abroad. On behalf of the organizing team of this orientation program, I extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the colleagues who have graced this occasion with their presence. And lastly, on behalf of the Faculty of Law, I extend a hearty welcome to all the students of LL.M and PhD program who have joined us this academic year. Once again, I welcome you all to this orientation program for this academic session. I now invite Dr. Kshitij Kumar Singh, convener, PhD course committee, to speak about the PhD course offered by Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Respected Dean, Faculty of Law, Professor Usha Tandon, distinguished speaker of the program, Professor S.P. Singh, Professor Shubha Ghosh, our faculty colleagues, and dear students. A heartfelt welcome to all to this very program. And let me introduce my team, that is PhD Research Committee, team of PhD Research Committee, which comprises of, I am as a convener working in this committee. In addition to that, Dr. Santosh Upadhyay, Dr. Amrendra, Dr. Susmita Malya, Dr. Seema Singh, Dr. Suman Yadav, and Dr. Vandana Mahalwar. They are there in the team. And coming to the PhD coursework, why it is important, why we are organizing an orientation program regarding that. I mean, it is aimed at, the whole motto of introducing this very coursework was to ensure and maintain the standards in research in conformity with University Grant Commission, minimum standards and procedure for award of PhD degree. So it means to say that it was introduced with an intent to trigger the PhD students to frame their work in an orderly manner, honing their skills of research and teaching. So I just want to have a brief overview of this very program. So this coursework, PhD coursework, is of the duration which extends to 2 semesters over a year. And this very course is compulsory for every scholar. And unless and until they complete successfully this very course, they are not confirmed for the PhD registration. So it is so crucial for their, registration. So this comprises of 3 courses, and each course has a teacher coordinator. And the nature of evaluation is pretty different as compared to the regular LL.M classes. Here, no end-term written exam is there. And it is ongoing, continuous process. And the evaluation is being done through presentation and through other, frameworks rather than the strict, you can say, traditional exam pattern. So there are 3 subjects which are involved or included in this very course. Number 1 is legal research methodology, where research techniques are being, paid heed. Apart from that, we do have fundamental perspectives of law, where the interpretation of laws and how the socio-legal study could be done, that has been focused upon. And then we have andragogy and the art of teaching adults, because whoever is doing research, one of the motto is to join the teaching. So how they can develop their teaching aptitude and the techniques that is being the focus of this very subject, that is, or course, that is andragogy and the art of teaching adults. So when we talk about this very course, it may be considered as an induction course, or it may be a kind of a course which trigger them, as I told you, to take their work very seriously. So it is not the end of the research. So once you have done or completed the PhD coursework, it doesn't mean that it has been, stopped there. It is just a start. And research is an evolving process. Every day we engage with various stakeholders and we develop our work on the basis of that. So one must not think that it is just a kind of, filter which they pass and then everything is okay. They must engage themselves in various discussions, interactions, so on and so forth. So there are certain challenges which we are facing, and I must point out some challenges. Like today, the legal research is highly interdisciplinary. And when we deal with interdisciplinary studies, sometimes we are carried away by the other discipline rather than thinking about the law. So we should contain and sustain our legal approach while dealing with the interdisciplinary studies. So that is one of the challenges. The other challenge is academic integrity. And you can say research ethics, which is somewhat, eroded nowadays. So we need to focus upon that, because research is not only about just making a study, it is also developing an individual as a responsible human. So that must be taken into account. So these are the challenges. Because we have paucity of time, I'm not delving much into that. We have certain plans for this very coursework, and we will be doing it by organizing various seminars, providing platforms which are more engaging to the research students. Because what happened, like in LL.M and other courses which are regular courses, they have the classes and they are pretty engaged in that. But in case of PhD students, sometimes they feel dejected because they are not that much included. So in that way, we will be looking at providing enabling platform, discussion forums, and try to align their work to the relevant ministries so that they can make an impact from their research. Because higher education is a kind of sector which makes a direct implication to the policy making. So in this way, how our work influence the legal process and policy making, that would be our motto. With this, I'm just ending my address. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I now call upon Dr. Narendra Kumar Bishnoi, convener LL.M course committee, to speak about the LL.M course offered by Faculty of Law. Sir, over to you.
Respected professors, Shri Prakash Singh, Director South Campus, Professor Shubha Ghosh, Syracuse University, New York, Professor Usha Tandon, Head and Dean, Faculty of Law, senior faculty members, and dear students, good morning to all of you. The main objective of our LL.M program is to enlighten the students with laws and judicial interpretations at the national and international level, and the comparative study of the same. And while imparting professionally and socially relevant legal educations, by interdisciplinary approach, we produce law teachers, judges, judicial and legal officers, and researchers. The Faculty of Law offers Master of Law, both 2-year and 3-year for Indian students, and Master of Comparative Law for foreign students. An LL.M 2-year program is a full-time course, and the students seeking admission in this course are required to fill an affidavit stating that they are not engaged in any trade, business, employment, and will be studying the course on a full-time basis as per rules contained in the Delhi University Ordinance. But LL.M 3-year course is open to working people also. Here I also want to request all first-year LL.M 2-year students to submit their affidavit at the earliest at LL.M office. In both LL.M 2-year and 3-year, every student study 11 subjects, and out of which 3 are compulsory and 8 are optional paper, 1 dissertations either in 4th or 6th semesters. The passing marks for LL.M course is slightly high, and the student have to take at least 50% marks in each paper and dissertations. The main objective of compulsory foundation course, Legal and Social Science Research Method, is to enable the students to understand the approaches and strategies for doctrinal legal research, and for sociological-oriented research in law and legal process. The purpose of teaching this subject in first semester is to facilitate the job of searching and developing themes for term paper and LL.M. dissertations. There is no written 3-hour examination in this course. Instead, student will be assessed on the basis of class curriculum and field work, 50 marks, and Viva, for which an external examiner and teacher teaching the subject will be an examiner, 50 marks. Our term paper has to be submitted and presented in the class in each course in each terms. And the dissertation must have plagiarism check certificate duly signed by the librarian of the faculty and the supervisor. And while submitting term paper and dissertation, each student should follow the research ethics and they should avoid research misconduct. Just like integrity, ethics in research is a high priority area for maintaining quality and the high standard of research. And students should give prime importance to issues like confidentiality, privacy, autonomy, and justice, and without which no credible and substantive research is ever possible. In order to achieve quality and excellence in teaching and research, we need to innovate each sphere of legal education holistically, be it curriculum design, teaching methodology, instructions like lectures, classroom discussions, paper presentation by students, and student placement activities. And I strongly hope together we can make this happen. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request our distinguished guest, respected Professor Dr. Shiri Prakash Singh, Director, South Campus, University of Delhi, to address the gathering. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Isa. Thank you, law faculty, having me here in this orientation program. Thank you, Usha Tandon ji. Thank you, डॉक्टर विश्नोई. महावीर जी को मैं देख पा रहा हूँ. नमस्कार. क्षितिज, नमस्ते. Professor Ghosh was taken out time to be connected with us in this morning. And for such orientation program, legal luminaries like Professor Usha Tandon, Mahavir ji, Professor Ghosh is around. Perhaps there was not at all needed that a man of political science should be speaking and motivating them for this orientation program. But being in chair, you have some responsibility, and because of that, I am with you. Friends, those who are pursuing LL.M. and Ph.D. with Delhi University, for them I'll say, it's a life-changing opportunity. It's not merely a degree program with Delhi University. It's a life-changing opportunity for you, for your family, for your surrounding, for your community, for your own country. And if you devote your time with passion, with commitment, degree is fine. But with this degree, if you adopt a mission that you will change, will do something extraordinary, getting admissions in Delhi universities in such a prestigious course, you are aware of it, how difficult it is. Because of your labor, because of blessings of elders and God, you had this opportunity, so utilize it with your full potential. When I'm saying full potential, it's other way around also. It's the responsibility of law faculty, dean, faculty members to provide them such an opportunity where they can explore their full potentiality so that they can contribute to the academic world, to the nation or the legal fraternity. For example, when you pick a case study, As a researcher, as a student, when we discuss about topics, case studies, sometimes we go for the easiest topic, easy to research, where huge literature is available or some researches have taken place. Definitely that helps us in passing our degree in time. But you don't create a place for yourself until unless you stretch yourself. My submission to all students is stretch yourself. You have huge potential, utilize that. And while picking the topics for your future program, pick such a topic where you can explore such areas where you have not been, others have not been able to. If you do this, then you will be contributing a lot to Delhi University law campus, to yourself and to judiciary and the legal fraternity. मैं अभी बहुत कुछ जानता नहीं हूं कि अभी लॉ फैकल्टी की क्या स्थिति है, स्तर पर हैं, लेकिन महावीर जी जब हम लोग विद्यार्थी थे, believe me, getting into Delhi University was something fulfilling, like a huge dream of a student. अभी की तरह NLUs भी नहीं थे, तो इतनी प्रेस्टीजियस यूनिवर्सिटी में आना, एडमिशन मिलना अपने आप में बड़ी बात है। तो ये मेरे सभी विद्यार्थी जो हैं, जो जुड़े हुए हैं, वो उनको तो सेल्फ प्राइड होना चाहिए। और मैं बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, आई कैन से विद द लीडरशिप ऑफ उषा टंडन, definitely there were some uncertainties here and there, but now those uncertainties are gone. Now you have a permanent dean, a able dean, who has to lead the front. And on behalf of administration, I can assure Usha ji, we all are there to help you out if at all we are needed for the law campus. एक और बात, मैं सोशल साइंस का विद्यार्थी हूं, पॉलिटिकल साइंस पढ़ाता हूं। रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी पर जरूर थोड़ी सी बात आप लोगों से करूंगा। प्रोफेसर घोष, when we discuss research methodology with our own students, majority of times our discourses are dependent in political science and social sciences primarily on Chicago School of Thought. Scienticization of social sciences and political science, where we try to locate our things with the scientific parameters and values. Nothing wrong in it. The whole world is doing. Whole academia is doing the same thing. But to apprise our faculty members and our students, those who are connected with us through YouTube channel and other means, in Arthashastra, Kautilya wrote about Tantra Yukti. That is 15th chapter of Arthashastra. When you read that, you will find Kautilya is discussing about a methodology, how to explore, how to research, how to write, how to narrate the things. And in that narration, how to maintain neutrality. For any researcher, the parameter is neutrality. How he is maintaining that neutrality. And if you will read that Tantra Yukti, you will find that there are 32 elements. When we do system analysis of Chicago School of Thought, David Easton and others, there are 10 tools only. But Kautilya is talking about 32 tools of research. And when you will read that, you will realize that you know many things. Knowingly or unknowingly, we have been practicing those tools of research in our researches. For example, I'm just referring few. मेरे पास अभी वो लिटरेचर नहीं है. मुझे नरेंद्र ने कहा सर ये तो मेथोडोलॉजी का है और मैं अपने नोट्स या जो मेरे कुछ काम की चीजें वो डिपार्टमेंट में रहता है तो मैं ले नहीं पाया, लेकिन मैं कुछ चीजें आपसे जरूर शेयर करता हूं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, रिसर्च प्रयोजन, आई एम यूजिंग दोज टर्मिनोलॉजीज. उसका प्रयोजन क्या है? जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा, one प्रयोजन may be your degree program, another प्रयोजन is to explore something extraordinary for the society. हेतु, उसका हेतु क्या है? Who will fund it? Kautilya at the time of writing of Arthashastra is referring these conditionalities. Who will fund it, for what it is, and how you will go for it. और यहां तक वो कहता है एकांत, नैकांत. The word terminology used by him is नैकांत. यानी आपको जो रिसर्च करनी है पीयर ग्रुप के साथ साथ, लेकिन जब लिखने बैठोगे, दिस कैन नॉट बी ए कलेक्टिव एक्सरसाइज, यू हैव टू बी इन एकांत. With all discussions, you have to take care of what is previously written or spoken about it. What is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis? These three terminologies are highly popular in social sciences, initiated by Hegel, then Karl Marx. But in Astadhyay of Patanjali, you will find the reference of same. And Patanjali in Astadhyay talks about asti nasti distam. Asti means thesis, nasti antithesis, distam synthesis. Thousands of years ago, these literatures were created, and we find methodology in it. And it's not only these literatures, you read any literature. You read Raghuvansam of Kalidas or Avigyan Sakuntalam of Kalidas or Meghdutam of Kalidas, you will be surprised to know it. There are proper frames of grammar. If in first sloka, matras, then you will find that whole literature of Kalidas is written in 26 matra. And such creations, such grammatical phrasings, parameters is not possible without research methodology. Why I'm referring all these things? My submission to you is we had a wonderful tradition of writing. Only problem with us was our tradition was dependent on Shruti and Shravya. But now it's a high time for us to take leave from those literatures, learn from those literatures, and experiences with model tools and technology of researches, so that our connect with society, so that our progress with society is very much there with the new findings. एक और बात, क्योंकि आप में से तमाम लोग जुडिशरी में भी जाएंगे, लीगल प्रोफेशन को भी अडॉप्ट करेंगे, जजेस बनेंगे. न्याय शास्त्र when there's a lovely discourse of nyaya and justice. It's not only the terminologies in Hindi and English. You read Indian classics, you will find for a nyaya, the society was responsible. It's not only the monarchy or the king or the system. और मैं ये नहीं कह रहा सिर्फ हमारे यहाँ शुरू हुआ है. In Great Magnum Concilium in 10th century, we do find the reference of Curia Regis. In Curia Regis, only 3 members were there and 3 institutions used to be there. One was legislature, and there was and third was the judiciary. But you read our own literature, you will find all these things very much there. हम जिस शब्द को अमात्य कहते हैं उसको आज मंत्री परिषद कहा जाता है. And Professor Ghosh, you will feel happy by knowing in Santi Parva, Bhishma at the last moment of his life is delivering all these things to Yudhishthira in form of Upadesha. और वो बताता है कि जिसमें जो आपकी काउंसिल बने उसमें कैसे कैसे लोग होने चाहिए, कितने एजुकेटेड होने चाहिए, काउंसिल का काम क्या है होना चाहिए. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ समस्या ये हुई कि हमने उस लिटरेचर को एंशिएंट कह करके या आउटडेटेड कह करके संस्कृत बेस्ड करके छोड़ दिया और अपने पूरे सिस्टम को हमने जो है मॉडर्न टूल्स एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के अनुसार देखना शुरू किया, और जो कि बहुत समय तक हमको क्वेश्चन भी करती है. तो मैं आप सबके इस मंच से जितने भी विद्यार्थी जुड़े हुए हैं उन सबको एक तो बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि आपका एडमिशन दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के साथ हुआ है. प्रशासन की तरफ से आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं. प्रशासन की तरफ से उषा टंडन जी को, आपकी पूरी टीम को आश्वस्त करता हूं कि जो हमसे सहयोग बन पड़ेगा, जो चाहिए होगा आपको मिलेगा. फिर एक उम्मीद जरूर करता हूं कि आपके पास फैकल्टी क्रंच हुआ करता था, अभी वो फैकल्टी क्रंच खत्म हो चुका है, काफी हद तक खत्म हो चुका है. बहुत सारे नौजवान साथी मैं स्क्रीन पर देख रहा हूं, सभी बहुत योग्य हैं. मैंने तो जैसे होता ना कि पूरी पतीली का सिर्फ एक चावल देख लो तो पता लग जाता है. तो आई हर्ड ईसा, छितेजन, नरेंद्र, आई नो सीमा. तो मैं कह सकता हूं कि बहुत अच्छी फैकल्टी आपको मिली है. आप सबके लिए आकाश अनंत है. आप अच्छा करें. मुझे बुलाने के लिए, कुछ अवसर देने के लिए बहुत बहुत साधुवाद. कुछ समय तक जुड़ा रहूंगा. हो सकता है मेरी वीडियो ऑफ रहे. धन्यवाद.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू.
Can you hear me? Isha, would you like to, or can you hear me all?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Can hear you.
So
Yes,
let
madam,
me
yes,
take this
yes.
honor to invite
Yes.
our distinguished speaker, Professor Shubha Ghosh, to please enlighten us on this occasion. Professor Shubha Ghosh.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be speaking to this very learned group. I appreciate the invitation. I've spoken several times remotely to Delhi University. I wish one day again to visit as we're going back to normal conditions. Thank you, Dean Tandanji, for the invitation. Thank you for the wonderful event. Thank you again, my good friend, Professor Singh, for reaching out to me. It's always a pleasure to learn about your research and your developments, and congratulations on all your success. And thank you for the wonderful discussion from Professor Prakash Singh about political science, about various traditional methodologies and the persistence and the whole idea of research methodology in law, I think it is important to recognize how much legal education, graduate legal education, is life-changing. As was mentioned, it changes your worldview, it changes your progress in the career, but most importantly, it changes your understanding of how law works, how law functions in society, how to think about various issues. But I think with that knowledge, you also have to understand that now the baton goes to you, even if you're just starting the program, to see how you can change the world, how you can impact and affect the reality of law, how law is practiced, how law affects human lives, how law interacts with policy. And I think the connection to political science, I was very happy to see that. It's very good to know how law exists in the polity to help design organizations, to help design institutions, to help motivate action and change. You know, we're seeing now in this 2022, but we're seeing it maybe for the last 3 years, really a questioning about democracy, a questioning about the stability of democratic institutions. And in many ways, they have been threatened and continue to be in many countries, in many ways. But throughout this, there is this notion of the rule of law. There is a notion of how the law can serve as a vehicle for human expression, for human engagement, for the protection of human rights, for protection of human dignity. And many actors have a role in the law. We usually think about judges having the primary role, but of course, legislatures, the executive, the lawyers who are arguing in the court and bringing cases, and most importantly, I guess in a very self-serving way, I say most importantly, the legal scholars who are studying this, because they can truly look at this in a disinterested way, in a fair way, in a rigorous way. They're not advocating for any one position. They are looking at various arguments that can exist for multiple positions and assessing them and seeing which are viable, looking back at traditions, whether it's Kautilya, whether it's talking about the Bhagavad Gita, whether it's talking about various religious traditions and philosophical traditions, to understand and assess these arguments in the world we live in contemporaneously. So yes, your life will change. You will have the rigors, the obligations of being a student, but as an LL.M student or as a Ph.D. student, you're in that area where you really are colleagues for researchers. You're doing research. You have a knowledge of the law. You have an understanding of the system. I'm sure many of you have had some very interesting experiences within the legal system. And now it is your chance to try to think about the system in a balanced way. I think that's another word that we have not seen yet, but I think it's been implicit. Where you look at the various types of positions, think about how they fit together. Ultimately, the role of law is to develop institutions, but the institutions have a certain stability, serve as sort of a fixed point. I mean, clearly, when we talk about the rule of law rather than the rule of people, we're talking about the stability of institutions. But the stability of institutions does not mean that institutions are unchanging. This may be the interesting paradox of law, if you want to see it that way. On the one hand, there is some element of stability and continuity, but within that notion of stability and continuity, there are possibility of lots of changes, lots of ways in which society can be organized, the way in which rights and interests and modes of justice can be realized. And this is your obligation. This is your burden, if you will, but your challenge to see how you can take all the education you've had and all the education you'll get and bring it to that very noble and very important purpose. And certainly understanding political science is very important. Understanding social science methodology is very important, whether it's in the Chicago school or the Cambridge school or the various schools of thought that might arise, whether it's looking at economics or sociology, looking at jurisprudence, looking at even certain doctrinal developments, looking at the developments of various institutions, such as the court system and the legislature, and the various local forms of governance that you see in India and in other countries. And I think those types of tools, you need to find which are the ones that are the most suitable for what you want to study. And as you develop your course of study, your research, you should think about this as a lifelong passion, not just simply a momentary passion that you're trying to fulfill in terms of exams and papers and those largely mundane things that sometimes preoccupy the days and the minutes and the hours. So do think about that passion. Think about what really inspires you and how you'd like to inspire others. And there are many ways to do that. It's good to read broadly. There are opportunities for many conferences, obviously at Delhi University, but in Delhi more broadly and in India more broadly. And also many opportunities to connect with scholars from other countries. There are programs, for example, that are done for Asian law professors in the broad Asian region. Colleagues that have organized these conferences, for example, in Singapore. There was the Asian Law and Society Conference that often is held in India, as well as the Law and Society Conference that's held and is very open internationally. So seek out those opportunities to meet other scholars, to learn from other scholars, as well as to present and develop your own work. That is a very important part of your education beyond what is happening in the classroom. And of course, meet speakers, meet people who visit the campus, propose ideas yourself for conferences, for guest speakers or other lecturers to come and enlighten you and develop your own research. There's so much to see. There's so much that has been developed within our understanding of law, and there's still so much that needs to be developed. And each of you have a role in creating those foundations, those pieces for the larger institutions that we have to construct and live with and think about reforming as we pursue our study and scholarship within the law. So this is a very momentous occasion. I'm very proud to be part of this. So thank you again for inviting me. But you should think about this as a beginning, of course, but also the opportunity for you not only to be changed by your legal education, but to think about ways that you can change. And especially as many of you will move on to legal teaching and legal scholarship careers, you should think about how you would want to develop your own teaching and pedagogy, which is very intimately connected to scholarship. Those are not two separate facets of a professor, of a lawyer. They're very intimately connected. So I was very interested to learn that one of your courses of study will be pedagogy, adult learning, how to educate adults. So that's very important because we're always educating, we're always being educated. And even as advocates, one of the goals of a successful advocate is to educate, to not only convince someone of the correctness of your position, but to educate as to why what you think is the right position is the way to proceed. So I was very excited to see that and learn about that, as well as the research methodology. And so I look forward to learning more about the program, to learning more about your work. Please feel free to contact me if I can be of any assistance or a guide in terms of your research. Do think about even further education beyond this, to broaden your outlook, to broaden your thinking. The mind never closes unless we choose it to close it. So we should take those opportunities. We should take that as a lifetime student, lifetime learning, these types of values that are very important in terms of developing ourselves, both as a researcher and as an attorney, in terms of how we pursue our careers. So thank you for including me. I look forward to visiting in person one day. It's been it has been at least 2 years now since I've traveled outside the United States. It's been a little bit, I usually travel quite a bit. So I look forward to doing that again soon. And I hope our paths cross face to face, mask to mask. But the virtual connection is always understanding and connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. My apologies that I got disconnected after the speech of the first distinguished guest, and I'm thankful to Usha ma'am for taking over and inviting our next guest. Thank you so much to both our distinguished speakers for gracing the occasion and for encouraging and motivating our students to explore and utilize their full potential. Thank you so much to both the distinguished speakers. I now request our respected Professor Dr. Usha Tandon, Head and Dean, Faculty of Law, to kindly address our students.
Thank you, Usha. Respected Professor Shiri Prakash Singh ji, Professor Shubha Ghosh, my colleagues, Dr. Kshitesh, Dr. Narendra, senior professors are also here, Professor Mahavir, Dr. Isha, and other colleagues also I could see here on the screen. Rohit is also with us and many other, and the dear students. Well, I'm sure that all of you are immensely benefited by the address which have been delivered by our two distinguished scholars just now. Professor Shiri Prakash has mentioned about that research is a life-changing opportunity, and how further beautifully this was elaborated by Dr. Shubha Ghosh, that this life-changing opportunity involves your passion and the commitment, and other requirements for the LL.M course and the Ph.D course, which have been told to you by my colleagues, Dr. Narendra and Dr. Kshitesh, hope have benefited you in understanding how to go about these courses in the coming years. While I endorse each and everything which have been said by my predecessors, and I will just like to emphasize on 2 or 3 things. You may find that this may not be a thing absolutely different, but another way of saying what Professor Prakash and Professor Shubha Ghosh has said. Now, when we are talking about research, and particularly the legal research, you see, whether it is legal education or it is legal profession, it cannot survive without the research. Now, advocate is also researching, judge is also researching, teacher when going in the class, preparing the notes is also researching, the students in the LLB are also researching. But then there is one difference between the research done by judge, advocate, teacher, student, and the legal researcher. And it is this distinction which you have to maintain when you are a student of LL.M and PhD. Now, what is that distinction? The distinction is what Professor Prakash has mentioned about Tantra Yukti with the help of that Kautilya's Arthashastra, or what in modern terminology we can say, as Professor Shubha Ghosh had said, whether it is Chicago School of Thought, it is Cambridge School of Thought, or in a legal methodology, it is known by several other names. So the difference is that when a legal researcher, LLM and PhD students, we are going to make you legal researchers. When a legal researcher does a research, it happens to be in the most disciplined manner. That disciplined manner may be lacking whatever other examples I had given you when I as a teacher go in the class to prepare my notes, or an advocate goes in the class to argue the cases. So when we are talking about this discipline of writing, it is both ways, substantive as well as technical. And as you will proceed on, embark on this journey, you will come to know that herein technical discipline comes first, then the substantive discipline, both as a supervisor of LLM or PhD thesis or as an examiner of LLM or PhD thesis. You know, what is the best thing what we see? We first of all see the footnotes. Before reading any sentence or any word. And by looking to the footnotes, we come to know the quality of whatever might have been written there in the main text. Like in the quotes, when you go in the quotes, first of all, there happens to be certain technicalities, howsoever strong your case may be, as far as substance is concerned. But if it is suffering from any kind of technicality, maybe it is a time barred, maybe it is, there are so many technicalities which you are aware of. Nobody is going to listen you on merits. Somehow or the other, that thing is there in when we are talking about the research being done by the researchers of your level. Okay, so you will learn this in this particular process. And again mentioned by Professor Prakash also, that it is not a search, it is a research, right? That means some material is already there, some literature is already there. Then what is your job? What is your role? Your role is to relook it, to investigate it from a different perspective. One perspective which your teacher, your guide might have, you have discussed with that. And whatever statement of problem you have developed, you have to investigate into that with the material which is already existing. All right. So herein one thing I would like to emphasize on, then whatever material is already existing, or we say review of literature also happens to be one part of your whole system of the research. And herein you will find two kinds of material. For the sake of simplicity, I can say one is a primary material, primary source, and other is a secondary source. For a legal research, primary source, you all know, includes statutes, rules, regulations, yes, court judgments also, reports also, law commission reports, and any other kind of a report like Justice Verma commission report, etc. Primary sources. And then secondary sources, excellent. Secondary resources are excellent. When we are talking about research articles, we get so much motivated by reading such, some of the articles, books and other material. I know you will use the secondary material. Therefore, I'm not going to motivate you on that. You are self-motivated for that, which is an excellent material also. But herein my concern is, please go for the primary material also. If in any article you have come to know any interpretation on any one particular section of any act, please open that particular act and see that section also. And then you will come to have a better understanding than what you have got from that particular article also. Why? Because now when you have opened the bare act, you will come to know other things also surrounded by the context in which that particular section is there, which may not be the matter of concern for that writer who has written the article. Because that author has written the article from his own perspective. The writer of a book has written the book from his own perspective. Your perspective may be, definitely it has to be a little bit different than that. It may be enlarging that perspective. It may be restricting that perspective. but surely it is a different perspective. If your perspective is not different from that, then it's not a research. It's not the original research. So how will you come to know that originality, your own originality? You have to discover your own originality. And this is a very simple way of doing that. That take a lead from those and see those things. If any case has been mentioned anywhere in any book or the journal, do read that case. Then you will come to know, oh, there are other things also in that case which are relevant for you, which may not be relevant for those authors, etc. So I will motivate you that please go for open the barracks, open the cases, no matter they are 20 pages or they are 200 pages. Because when you will read, you will come to know how to read it. You will come to know how to read 200 pages, maybe in few hours, the moment you indulge in that. So that is one of my concerns. And the third one is a little bit both separately to LLM students and PhD students. As far as my LLM students are concerned, of course, teacher is there to teach the subject, whatever subject is there in maybe in the first or third semester, etc. I'm delighted that some of my teachers are also connected with this. Now, one thing I would like to mention here expressly for my teachers also, as well as students together, that we do not teach in LLM the way we teach in LLB. Please do not spoon feed the LLM students. You know, if it is a learning different for our students, it is a teaching different for us also. We cannot teach our LLM. I cannot teach my LLM students the same way as I teach my LLB student. So then what is the difference? The difference is that we have to make them study on their own, not only study, understand also. And not only that, then present it also. And therefore, my request will be that you tell them that you are having the absolute liberty, whether you want to finish the whole syllabus first, giving them the idea, or it is that you are taking one of the chapters, you are giving them a broad idea of the chapter, and then whosoever is going to present a paper relating to that particular chapter, you're taking that. But make students to learn, to read on their own, understand on their own, have discussions with you, have questions with you, and then make them unable to make the presentations. Presentation is very, very important in the class. Why? Because one of the purposes of LLM is those students who opt for LLM, somewhere or the other, academia is one of the careers which they are possibly seeing for them. And if they want to come in teaching, communication is absolutely very necessary. You may have very good ideas, but unless and until you are able to transmit it to your students, you cannot be called a good teacher, or it will not be worthwhile teaching. And here, when we are having this opportunity for the term paper, herein we are giving them the opportunity, come up, and whatever your inhibitions are there, we are giving to you the opportunity to remove that. Some of them may be having, some of them may not be having, but we are more concerned who really need this training. So I will appeal my teachers also that give them this opportunity, that they should come up. And I know that when they come up, then even 2 hours class, we have LLM class of 2 hours. Sometimes 2 hours class becomes less time for them to make a full presentation. And in my classes, sometimes the presentation is spread into 2 classes. And they themselves, are amazed that we were not aware of that we can speak for 2 hours. And now, not 2 hours is even not sufficient. We have to continue our presentation for the next class. So that is also very important for the LLM, my teachers, as well as my students, that it's not only that they have to submit the paper. Of course, submission also I'm coming, but they have to make the presentation also. And the presentation is not that they are coming here and reading it. My students, you will not be, I will encourage you not to read the term papers. Because when you come in that class, and it's again here the teacher has to be proactive. Tell them that you make your points and explain to us. We are your students. I may be the teacher otherwise, but now I am your student. You make the points and make us explain them, and they really come up. It's only as Shubha Ghosh was saying, that we have to give them the opportunity, so that whatever the potential is, their hidden potential, that gets sharpened, that comes out. And therefore we, the teachers who are teaching this, particularly LLM, the PhD, heavy burden is on us. We have to change absolutely the moment we deal with our LLM students and LLB students differently. It's a double role, what you can say, when we interact with them also. Okay. Or I will say multi-role. I'm sorry, double may not be taken that the other manner. Now coming to your paper submission. Yes, paper submission is also necessary. Why? Because this is how gradually we intend you to train. By writing these papers, then how you will come to a stage when you will have to write your the dissertation. Your term paper may not have marks, but in one of the papers, as Dr. Narendra has told, that there is no examination, and everything is whatever you are writing, you are presenting in the viva. So if you're gaining the skills gradually, you will not have any problem as far as that particular paper is concerned, in which you will be having the marks. Okay. And then when you prepare for your term paper, my LLM students, the sincerity with which you will be writing the paper and presenting the paper, let it not go waste. If there are no marks, there are so many other, again, I will say, opportunities. Get it published. Now, if you are able to write that term paper in the whole, that systematic manner with the help of your teacher, that the footnoting, etc., is also absolute. You can really go for a proper journal. Otherwise, now so many other forums are there where at least you can showcase whatever research you have done. There are blogs also. And I'm also planning that with the help of my this website committee and social media committee, if we can give you one opportunity also, that you can post maybe the full this paper, term paper, or maybe something out of that, if it is not that technically disciplined as far as footnoting and references are concerned. So you can take out the substance of that and can post it as a blog. So let it not go waste. You see, everybody research for any kind of a thing, even though we know how to refresh, we do the research. It is these days so very easy. You can Google it, this and that. And I found so many students of LLB 5 years who are just in the first year and the second year, when even the laws are not introduced to them, they are writing in the form of the blog. Though I do not encourage that. You first know the law and then only, say something on that. So, but one thing which you can get the inspiration from them is that if they can do it, you are much better. You are LLM students, you are PhD students. You can not only cut paste, you can not only compile, you can also give your own system. You can put in a more systematic manner and come out with some view. Definitely that view will come on. So showcase your research, whatever this hard work you are doing. This is an era of showcasing it. And herein I'm encouraging you with content, not only just for the sake of numbers, this and that. Okay, that's one thing. And now, especially addressing to my PhD scholars. Now, Professor, Dr. Kshitij has mentioned very important thing, if you have noticed it, and that is that doing PhD coursework successfully is absolutely necessary for you for getting your PhD registration proper. You are provisionally enrolled for the PhD. Unless and until you do your coursework, you will not be regularly enrolled for that. That's one technicality of it. And apart from this 1 year, these papers really provide you the opportunity and a platform which is really required, how to do research, whatever topic you have chosen, how to really go on that, to elaborate on that. And herein, you have to have compulsorily make presentations. I would try to be in those presentations with my PhD students, or maybe that for some of the LLM presentations also, I will try to make it. But definitely in the PhD presentations, if not all, in most of the presentations, I would also like to be engaged myself with you. So together we will learn it. And there is, for the PhD scholars, there is also a requirement for 2 compulsory publications. So you can take out those publications from your presentations only. Please write good these papers, and you have to, as you have to get it published also, because there's a requirement of the UGC. Again, my humble request is, do not go to those paid publishers where there is a rat race. You come up with good papers, you come to us, you come to my colleagues, you come to me personally. We will guide you where you have to go for publication. We will help you in your publications. So one thing is what you are writing on, another is where you are getting it published. Both things are important. So together we will work and we will see if we can get some good publishers for you, to the extent whatever we can help you. But for the God's sake, don't go for those who are giving you on their own. Mails, they are sending you the mails and saying that we are having IASBN number, IASSN number, come and get it published, you will get the next day. Do not take that path. Okay, very strongly I discourage you, opting that particular option. Come to us, we will help you for getting your papers published. For a PhD scholars coursework, there is also a requirement of 2 presentations in the conferences. And herein what Professor Ghosh has said is very important. If you have, listened it carefully, you know, when we are talking about life-changing experience, as Professor Prakash has said in the very beginning, how it becomes life-changing? It becomes life-changing when you do the research. Professor Ghosh has taught you, it will change your understanding of law. It will change how do you see the society, interaction between the law and the society. It will change you so that you can change the other stakeholders. And along with it, when you go out, maybe Delhi itself is, you know, such a place which gives you immense opportunity. But if you go outside Delhi, anywhere in India, or if you manage maybe virtually or going physically and interacting with other scholars of other jurisdiction, maybe Africa, maybe Asia, not necessarily US and Europe, anywhere, then the kind of, you know, this, your horizon of understanding, which is enhanced, is immense, is amazing. Your whole understanding, you will come to know that this is the real meaning of life changing. Now, let me, share a very simple example with you. You know, we have been hearing anywhere, whether it is a legal discipline or it's a non-legal discipline, education is very essential to deal with any social problem, technical problem, health problem, or any problem. Okay, we fit in education everywhere. That if people are educated, then of course we cannot have these kind of the problems. I think it was 2011. I happened to go and meet. It was my presentation also, and of course, when we go, we make one presentation. We hear 50 presentations. It is Dallas in the US. Then therein, one girl has made one presentation where she has proved that how come the education has failed as an instrument to bring necessary changes. Now, for me, it was a little bit life change. I will say at least one perspective changes. what change it has brought in my mind? Then I started seeing, my area of research happens to be the population law. And as Professor Ghosh has said, it's a lifelong passion. So whatever you do for your LLM and for your PhD, you can never disassociate yourself with that. It will always remain with you. Whatever you will hear, you will start connecting it with your own research. And that is a real research. That is a passion. What is a passion? Whatever you hear, you start relate with your own areas of research. So when I came here, when I came back here in India, then incidentally there was a news in the newspaper that we are grappling with adverse sex ratio. We are having in between boy and the girl because of this. You all know that whatever these abortions are taking place, the girls are not allowed to be born, etc., feticide, etc. So we were having that particular problem. Those in 2011, more and more news happened to be there. So when I came here, there was a news in the newspaper that in Delhi, from South Delhi, which otherwise we say is a posh area, not only educated people, they are holding very prominent positions also. The sex ratio was more adverse than those parts of Delhi which are not that educated in comparison to that. So that changes my perspective as far as the role of education to change the social ills is concerned. So that is true. There cannot be any gainsaying of this particular fact that when you go and interact with scholars of your own country in different areas, India itself is having so diverse that if you go and interact with them, definitely you will come with a new perspective, or you will enlighten them, giving your own perspective. Many a times when we listen others on certain area of law, our own view of that law definitely gets changed. And another thing, one thing which Professor Ghosh has said is very important for a researcher, very important. And that is, he said that the research has to be a balanced. It has to be in a balanced manner. Perhaps we, the teachers, have to have say it and always keep reminding our scholars. Why? Because beginner scholars, if I recall those days when I have just taken up one particular topic and started thinking on that. So this is quite, I will say, natural with the beginners, young scholars, at whatever topic they take. They say, oh, this is my baby, and I'm not going to listen anything what is against that. So initially, I may say that's natural, but as you get matured, you will find that when you hear anything against that, either it will affect in two manners. Either you will get more time as well as points to strengthen your view if you are able to argue it out. The other view, you can argue it out also. But if you really feel that sounds well, that it can make you to change your own view also. Who is that Dicey? If you read his first edition and if you see his 10th edition, you will find difference therein. So you don't think that if I have read something and I am formed of any kind of the thought, that's eternal. It's not going to be changed. Now, our speakers have said, Professor Shiri Prakash has said, Professor Ghosh has said, it's an evolving process. Why do we say learned people? What is the meaning of learned? Learned means who keeps on learning. Evolving doesn't mean that whatever view I have taken at one point of a time, come what, it is not going to be changed. Then you are not a learned person. Then you are not evolving. I can share, this is not a time, but I can share you some of the instances, my personal experiences where I have seen great people changing their views for good. So don't think that if I have taken one view in my research paper, and of course it cannot be very changing also. I hope you are understanding that also. It's not that in one paper you are giving one view, and another you are giving another, and third you are giving another. So that will be inconsistent views. That will be as if you yourself are not clear about that. But what I'm saying is absolutely something different than this. If 10 years before I have thought one thing like this, after 10 years or 20 years, when the scenario has changed, circumstances have changed, how the law is interacting with the society has changed. Maybe that I have to change my view also. And if I'm changing my own view, doesn't mean I'm demolishing. Okay, if it is a demolition, it's you who are demolishing, but with reasons. So that is also one of the things when we are talking about it's evolving and the balanced manner. Of course, achieving a balanced view in the research, let me tell you, not an easy task. It's not at all an easy task. It has been said very easily by Professor Ghosh, but I know it is not so. It may be easy for the judges. And therefore, when any judgment comes in a balanced manner, though, say, for example, if I'm talking about the woman, they will criticize it. If there is another who's talking about the children, may criticize it. So taking the things in a balanced manner may be easy for the judges, but for a researcher, it is very, very difficult kind of a thing. And I will say, we will invite Professor Ghosh sometime later just to enlighten us on this thing, that how can the research be taken by a researcher in a balanced manner. Why? Because on the one hand, we are saying the researcher should give one of his perspective, one of his views. What is your view? What is his view? If that is so, then how to maintain the balance? So we would like to hear him more on this and would like to learn on this from him. And again, I will encourage my PhD scholars also that whatever presentations you are making in these 3 papers and otherwise also, apart from the compulsory publication, publish as many as you can, but good publishers, come to your teachers, come to us. To the extent we can help you, surely we will help you, and also contribute for the blogs, as I have said to my LLM students. And you whether you like or not, whether you engage yourself or not, research is going to engage you with her. That is for sure. And in the initial engagement, you will not like it. You will not enjoy it. You will find, oh, it's very tedious. It's very painstaking. It's a very long, drawn out affair. But gradually, when you will get involved into that particular area, the statement of the problem which you are identified, gradually you will find that how interesting it is. Gradually you will find at the end of the day, when you are able to conclude your research, that what kind of a pleasure it is giving to you. Then you will realize that not only the satisfaction, but the pleasure. You're starting from the suffering, starting from all naggings at the end. And you know, there is one proverb which says there is no gain without pain. I think that befits here when we are talking about the research. And so I will join Professor Shiri Prakash and Professor Ghosh in appealing you that please take your this studies very seriously, with dedication, with passion. Here is an opportunity which can really change your perspective to the life, and you can really feel that how useful you are as a member of the society. And one thing more I would like to talk to my students, and that is, this is also emphasized by Dr. Narendra, that for 2 years LLM, it is necessary that you have to give an affidavit that you're not doing any job, right? Now for PhD course also, we have already taken a affidavit from those who have now been enrolled, that they are not engaged in any kind of the job. For LLM, we will soon start the process. So that is fulfilling the papers. But what I'm talking you is not merely fulfilling the papers, my office will take care of. This is my earnest appeal to you. Please, please do not violate this law. do not engage in any kind of the job, whatever you are not required to do during this period. Please do not do that, because I had seen certain cases wherein with great pain we have to cancel the admissions. There are many cases in the past where the PhD registration has been cancelled, provisional registration has been cancelled on this. Why? Because don't think we are having friends, we are having good friends also. Your good friends tell us. They come and tell us. Now, these days it's very easy. A person just has to write an email. So your good friend will write a mail to us with all the proof that so and so is working somewhere, and how can he or she can pursue the LLM or the PhD. Then we are having no option than to cancel it. So please do not indulge in that kind of a thing. And I also understand that this is you are at that phase of your life wherein you want to settle down as far as your career is concerned. I know the ground reality that my students at that particular age are engaged with certain competitive examinations. I'm not saying don't do that, but what I'm saying is that it should not be compromised, whatever the requirements for the study of LLM and PhD are there. Please be very clear in that. Whatever the requirements are there, your attendance, your paper presentation, other kinds of the things. Why? Because you have taken the admission, you have cleared it, you have come to us for asking us to give the admission, we have given you the admission, and we also look forward that you will contribute to the growth of this particular institution. We know you are having a lot of potential, which you can, which if utilized properly, and we are here to give you that opportunity, you can really, immensely contribute for the growth of the institution, and that is what we are looking for. So whatever your other things are there relating to the study, do that, but do that in such a manner that is, we are not going to listen any excuse from you that I was busy in this and that kind of a thing, and therefore you cannot devote your time for the LLM or PhD. And also be conscious of this particular fact that this is an entrance examination. You have taken a seat. There may be some other person who was really wanted to do this course full time, which could not take it. Why? Because he got the less marks. So at least you have to do justice with that other candidate also. So I really I appeal to you, give your a whole time, maximum time, I will say, to this research, and get ourselves also involved with you. Take the maximum out of whatever potential is there, or opportunities we as a teachers or from the administration. Just now, Professor Shiri Prakash has been so generous to say so expressly on this field. I'm so thankful to him. He said that whatever institutional support is required, he is there to give you. So we are here to give you institutional support. We are here to give you whatever we can contribute, and take the maximum of that. So yes, so there is a formal vote of thank at the end, but personally I would like to thank Professor Shiri Prakash Singh ji and Professor Shubha Ghosh for sparing their valuable time in connecting with us and guiding and motivating our students. And I wind up my address by wishing all my students, LLM, PhD, all the very best and fruitful years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for encouraging and motivating our students to discover their original thoughts and for highlighting the importance of discipline in the legal research. Now, I invite Dr. Santosh Kumar Upadhyay, member, PhD Course Committee, Faculty of Law, to propose formal vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Respected distinguished guests of today's orientation program, Professor Dr. Sri Prakash Singh, Director, South Campus, University of Delhi, Professor Dr. Shubha Ghosh, Professor Syracuse University, New York, our respected Dean, Professor Dr. Usha Tandon, Dean, Faculty of Law and Head Department of Law, Professor Dr. Mahavir Singh, PIC, Law Center 2, other senior professors present here, my dear colleagues and students. On behalf of Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, I express my heartfelt thanks first to the two distinguished professors that have spared their valuable time with us and guided us in many aspects. Professor Dr. Sri Prakash Singh ji has highlighted that research is a life-changing opportunity and has prompted us to come out of our comfort zone and take difficult tasks, difficult research topic, and difficult challenge in the society to make our research more society oriented. Professor Dr. Singh has, in a very eloquent and cogent manner, has highlighted the whole set of knowledge that is already there in the Indian literature, highlighting the Arthashastra, Tantra Yukti, then Ashtadhyayi, then literature of Kalidasa, and he highlighted that there is need that we must go inculcate, study, research those things, those tools and techniques of research, and we use them in our research for the betterment of the society. His focus on what to research, how to research, and for who to research, like from where you are getting funding and who is going to take your research, is definitely a path-breaking statement and definitely is going to help all of our students. So definitely your speech has enlightened us in many more aspects for the carrying out our research activities. And we, as a young researcher and definitely the students, have benefited from your speech. Our next distinguished speakers for today, Professor Dr. Shubha Ghosh, has rightly highlighted the importance of multidisciplinary approach in the research. He has highlighted that students must undertake various seminars, various conferences, must establish their linkages beyond borders, beyond subject, and have to inculcate reading habits to make their research more fruitful, to make their research more reachable to the general masses. Our own Dean, Professor Dr. Usha Tandon, that has already undertaken many reformative, enabling, and path-breaking steps towards the inclusive betterment of Faculty of Law, has also highlighted the many important aspects of research and studies. Her lecture was basically a living class on how to do research and what one should do and what one should avoid also. As a part of the administrator, she has rightly put all the things together. She has cautioned the student against malpractices, as well as she has also inspired the students to publish, to print, and to come to the faculty and to her own office for any of their own problem. Thank you, ma'am, for those cogent words also. I also express my thanks to Professor Dr. Mahavir Singh, PICS2, for sparing his time in this meeting. I express my thanks to Professor Dr. Shiri Singh and Dr. Shiri Singh and Dr. Narendra Bisnoy, respectively convener of Ph.D. course committee and convener of LL.M course committee, for highlighting the importance of Ph.D. course and LL.M course and highlighting their structures. And my heartfelt thanks also goes to Dr. Isa, who has conducted this program in a very smooth and fruitful manner. My other colleagues, senior professors and my other colleagues have also joined this program. I also express my heartfelt thanks to them. And in last, definitely many thanks for the students and many good wishes to the students who have participated in this orientation program, and hope all of you must have enlightened from this lecture and you must inculcate the teachings, the suggestions, the advices that have been provided to you in this lecture. So thanks to all, and now it's over to Dr. Isa.
With this, we come to an end of this orientation program. I'm thankful to everyone for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mahavirji. For being with us for the whole
Thank
of
you.
the
But
program.
it was a very, really golden opportunity for everyone for learning.
लेकिन हमें भी encouragement मिलता है. We all get encouraged.
Madam, the points you has given to the students, to the LM students and students, those points are really worthwhile. And I must say without any kind of hesitation that so boldly you advise the students for their good career, and for boldly you also instructed the students for their good career, because apparently two things cannot be happen, and I'm really delighted and feel proud to have so good dean, so dynamic dean. As it has been mentioned by our director South Campus, Sri Prakash Singh, that on the behalf of the administration, you are having your free hand, and I'm assured, I can assure that we are having with you in all kind of support and all kind of cooperation. Thank you, madam, for giving so good platform for learning for our LM students as well as our researchers, and moreover as well as our teachers also. Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we can disconnect now ourselves.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.